What's up, guys? Justin Brock here with Gurunomics. Another episode today. I'm really excited. We have Coach Micheal Burt on the show. Interesting thing. I don't know when you're watching this, but today, when I'm filming it, is his 45th birthday. So he's about a third through with his life now. Because he's gonna, his income's gonna be so high, and the advances in modern science, like old Ricky Bobby said, he should be able to live to be 140, 150 years old. So we got him on here on his birthday. And so I don't want to keep him too long, but we want to talk about a few things, and we want to hopefully bring up some things that hadn't been mentioned before. I've been watching Coach Burt at events for a while, and I'm going to tell you, he has a course called Fanatical Follow-Up, and that's something that I've admired about him. He is a fanatical follow-upper. I think my thing here went down just below. Okay, so he's been out after me as far as trying to build a relationship for a long time. We're having Medicare Con coming up, and we've been talking about that and communicating, but also I think hopefully, and this is me projecting something positive about myself, he always says he's looking for baby seals or Navy SEALs, not baby seals, and blue marlins, not blue gills, right?
That's right.
Well, apparently, since he's following up with me, he must think I'm a Navy SEAL or a Marlin, which makes me feel good. So, Coach Burt, thank you for being here today on your birthday. How are you doing today, man?
I'm doing great, man. It's a great birthday. I woke up this morning. I got up at 4. I was at the gym at 5. I saw my kids from 6 to 7 and my beautiful wife. And now I'm down here with my team, and we ran like a crazy special today, like 45% off everything. Nice. Anything in my coaching program. So our phones have been ringing all day. Our sales team is working, and man, it's just it's a good day.
Are you in the greatness factory right now?
Yeah, we're actually building a 8,000 square foot greatness factory in downtown Nashville. It's about a $6 million project that has shared space, permanent space, a gym, a world-class auditorium, podcast studios, dream incubation room. And so I am in the process of building that right now. So right now I'm in a temporary office on the 22nd floor of the Regions building in Nashville, overlooking Titan Stadium. So I got great views, and I'm a big on environment.
Yeah.
My team asked me, Coach, why are you spending the $8,000 or $9,000 for rent, and when you could just save the money between now and when you build it? I really believe that my team being here in downtown Nashville in an environment where they're thinking bigger, their prey drive is activated, is worth every dollar, man. I'm just a big believer in environment. So that's what we're doing. So I got great office space here on the 22nd floor.
I agree. And that's why we're trying to up our game with our location for Medicare Con, as well as even talking to real estate people ourselves about building our own building. So, not a greatness factor per se, but an environment for, Medicare gurus in our group to feel like, I feel like even if I'm hiring people, you bring somebody into the right office space, all of a sudden they're thinking, I want to work here. So it changes people's perception. Well, man, so Coach, a lot of people know you were a basketball coach, and, kind of got into the speaking arena via writing a book, right? Initially. And then in that trajectory, or moving forward, you found out how much you enjoyed that part of it, and then eventually found out how well it could pay. And then, that's how I understand that background. What made you want to be initially a basketball coach, and how early in your life did you think you wanted to go that route?
As early as 6 years old, I had a coach say to me, son, when you grow up, you're going to be a great coach. I was raised by a single mom. She took me to the baseball field a lot. I stayed down there for hours at a time, literally like from 3 in the afternoon till 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. I was always interested in sports, coaching, direction, leadership. I just kind of had a knack for it very early in life. So I was constantly hearing from other people. My high school basketball coach called me professor. I had a guy sew into me at 15 years old and said, I'm going to teach you how to be a great speaker. And after basketball practice, I would go to his house and he would teach me how to speak with a rhythm and a cadence. My high school algebra teacher taught me into running for a national office in Beta Club. And so early on in my life, I was involved in leadership and coaching and directing. And so, I don't know if it was just a gift that I had, because there's a lot of things I'm not very good at, but I was turned on to coaching basketball at 15 years old when a little league coach said, "Son, will you help me coach this basketball team?" And the second I started coaching, I loved it. I knew, like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, man. Like, there is nothing else in the world I'm supposed to be doing than this. So I didn't have dreams, Justin, of doing what I do today. My dream was to coach in high school, build a national championship program, win championships, go to college, be the next male Pat Summitt, be the next major college basketball coach. That was my dream. Yeah. I had no dreams of writing books, no dreams of coaching adults, no dreams of coaching insurance people. I mean, none. I didn't even think about it. And for some reason, because I started so early at 15, at 25, I was like, man, I've been doing this 10 years. I have something to say, right? And I sat down and wrote a little book, literally about that big, called Changing Lives Through Coaching. And it was for other coaches. It would be like you writing books, right, for other people in the Medicare space, and you trying to teach them what you've learned. And so I'm like, man, but nobody, coaches wouldn't buy it. I literally couldn't sell one copy to another coach. Mm-hmm. And so I was discouraged. I'm like, but all I'm trying to do is help other coaches, but I was their competitor. So they wouldn't buy my book, but somehow the book got in hands of business people. And around that time was the early 2000s. Business coaching was not prevalent like it is today. Like today, it's a status symbol to have a coach. Right. Like to have a coach means you're like doing something big. Well, in those days, business coaching was just, you had Tony Robbins in the 90s, Zig Ziglar, but you didn't have like where everybody has a coach now. And so this was new. And so a guy at Dell Computers got my book, called me and said, man, I want you to speak to my small business division. And I went down and spoke for an hour, and then they paid me more in an hour than I made in a month. And that's really what opened my eyes. And people were telling me, you're good at this. Like you could go on the circuit. And I really didn't even know what they were talking about. And they said, go home and study Lou Holtz. Lou Holtz was a coach, football coach at Notre Dame, who was writing books on winning and making $100,000 to go speak to businesses, right, in an hour. Yeah. And I went home and studied Lou Holtz videos and got his books. And I just had this big revelation, man, I could do this. I know I'm not at Notre Dame, but I am a successful coach. I do know how to win. And I know how to engineer people. I understand the whole person theory. So I started writing books. The books led to speaking. Speaking led to coaching contracts. And then when I was 31 years old, a healthcare company said, we're going to pay you $144,000 to be our coach. And I'm like, all right, man, I'm in. I had won a championship. So at that point, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to retire from athletic coaching and go pursue this path. And that's kind of how I ended up doing what I do today.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, one of the things you had talked about in there was, the guys that told you were going to make a good coach. Yeah. That obviously saw something in you and decided they wanted to coach you to be able to speak early on, called you professor. Sounds like you were getting neuro-linguistic programmed early on, which is a great thing. A lot of people end up having to take like this path where their programming is terrible and they had to untwine it. You might have been programmed down one path, but it was a good path that gave you a talent set. And then then at some point you figured out, oh, I can use this talent set way bigger than I even realized before. Even bigger than the people that told you had that talent set realized it could be used.
And they didn't even think like that. They just said, this kid's got a knack for coaching. What I've really figured out now that I'm 45 years old is that my real knack and my true unique ability is in deconstructing concepts and then packaging and delivering those concepts with a cadence and a rhythm that calls people to think and take action. Well, like that's really my talent.
Find your cadence.
That's really my talent. So when I saw you, the reason I pursued you is because I make up my mind very quickly if I'm going to pursue a person or not. Do I think they're hungry? Do I think they're humble? Do I think they're teachable? Do I think they have real talent? Do I think they can really be somebody in the world? And so when I follow up with people, I don't follow up with everybody like I followed up with you. Some people I meet at conferences and I never follow up with them again. But I have a filter, and if you fit that filter and I go, you know what, I can help that guy. I can help him. We can help each other. Then I'm very disciplined to my follow-up system, because I believe when we know better, we do better, and I know I can help. I have a deep conviction that I can help get a person to another level in my lane, right? I think everybody that does what they do is the best at what they do. Okay. And my skill set is activating the prey drive in people. And it's also become coaching people who want to coach, speak, write books, like just teaching people the monetization of a coaching business.
Yeah. Well, man, yeah, I've been to your school of, I got sick while I was there, but I was for the first day. I can tell you, being able to deconstruct the process and the evolution of a coaching business helped me tremendously. Early on, I had all these offerings, there were some people there that too, this is just an interesting, this is how I do Gurunomics, by the way. I have a thought, I talk about it, and then you play off of me. Right. But in that class, there were some people that had an audience. There were some people that maybe their audience was smaller. And they said, well, how big do you need, you get your audience? How do you get your audience big before you start this process? Right. And I was kind of the opposite. We had this business that was doing well, and they were growing really fast, and we were learning things. And then I started sharing information for free because I heard Gary Vaynerchuk. It just said, document everything and put it out there. And so I said, well, shoot, that's what we're going to start doing. And we developed an audience. And then I didn't have you there to help me figure out how to cultivate that audience. So I started kind of doing one-offs where I would see something somebody else is doing. I was like, this is a need. This is a need. This is a need. But one of the things that you told me that was really helpful in that was have a core offering. And so our core offering has become Medicare Gurus University. And this is that one coaching program and lesson. And I came back and shut down all these little mini channels that were a lot for us to even keep up with or update. So just that one thing, sometimes it's that one thing, that a coach can tell you that changes your path. And it's been a good move for us because we're able to focus our energy a lot better and then create that trajectory. So.
Well, and that's something I learned along the path that was good. And I think you need a core offer. I call it a feeder system. Mm-hmm. My feeder system is $83 a month, Monster Producer. We have 850 people in that program. That allows them to get in, get acclimated to me. It's low risk, low cost. And then it allows them to then choose other things. Some people want to go on retreats with me. Some people want to do boot camps with me. Some people want to come to my conference at Monster Nation. They're right. Like that allows them to get in the pond, get their feet wet, get going. If they like it, then they do more. And it's a game of numbers, right? We believe 16% of people will be open and inviting. So if there's 1,000 people, there's 160 people that we believe will want to do more. And that's sometimes all you need to make millions of dollars, man. And that's what people need to understand. I could show you how to make millions of dollars with 25 people if they're the right 25. And the concept of association. And, I really believe, and I've told you this, when I speak, that every stage I speak on, if you just give me 50 of the right people, is worth at least $250,000. There's 250,000 in the room of deals, partnerships, right? Could be coaching programs, but not always. Sometimes it's, 100,000 in coaching contracts and right. These two people get my 25K level, and these people hire me to be the coach of their company. And, these 20 people sign up for our offer that day, or whatever the case is. But we believe there's 250,000. So that's a $250,000 hour. So now we're getting into some serious money when we start talking about making 250,000 in an hour. Yeah. Right. And I believe it's possible, but I had to constantly be coached myself. Think about follow-up, because I see people go to conferences, do a great job, meet people. You've seen some of these people. They're some of the best people in the world. Then they never follow up. They never make a phone call. They never have an email. They never follow up on the offer. They never get names while they're at the conference. I'm like, the whole purpose of going to the conference is to connect with people. You don't need more money. You need more people. The people have the money. Yeah. And then if you can turn it and make it into a cool experience, like, in a few weeks, I'm speaking in Long Island with, It's me, Tim Grover, Cardone, and Brad Lee. And that's a pretty strong lineup. And I'm like,
is that the
how do we make?
Is that the only four, or is there more past
No, there's other people. It's
Okay.
it's put on by a guy in the car business. It's called the Entrepreneur Conference. But I said, how do we make it cool? Oh, well, why don't we take a G450? You know, that'd be make it cool. And why don't we charge 10 grand to go on the G450? We had a guy call up and say, man, I'll pay 25 grand right now to fly with you to that conference. And we literally sold out the tickets. I just had a guy text in and say, I'll take 2 tickets. Like what we do is I call that the adventure stack. If you were thinking about going seeing me and Grover and Cardone and Brad Lee, add on a G450, throw in a hotel room, make it an experience, man. Like make it an experience, you know, and then it's like, oh, now that's cool. Who don't want to do that?
Yeah, no, that's totally something that makes sense. And I hadn't really even thought about it, but you know, we do think about the experience,
Yep.
you know, in small ways, but to be able to add some of that level of pizzazz to it will pull somebody that's saying, and what's crazy too, is that there's people that won't pay $500 or $1,000 to get in the room, but they'll pay 10,000, 25,000 to, you know, have that experience.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, and you want those people there.
I remember the first time I chartered a private jet. I was booked to speak in Miami, Florida at lunch, in Jackson, Mississippi at dinner. And my assistant, I only had an assistant. I didn't have a team. It was back years ago. My assistant called me and said, you know, you can't do both events. You're going to have to pick, right, which one you're going to do. And I'm like, Miami, right? Mississippi. you live in, right? Like Miami.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what do you mean? I want to pick. Like, I'm going to Miami. Like, this is crazy. There are going to be 4,000 people in Miami. She said there's going to be 1,000 in Jackson, Mississippi. And I said, well, just tell them I can do the one in Miami. And then I thought about it for a second. I was like, no. I said, call and rent us a private jet. We're going to do both of them. And this was unheard. This was 10, 15 years ago. And she called me back. She said, Coach, it's $20,000 for the day. Like, we can't do this. They're not paying you that much money. And I said, book it. Book it. I'll figure it out. You just book it and I'll figure it out. Well, we literally come up with a theme. This is why it's important to understand concepts. Like your podcast here is a great concept. Mm-hmm. Medicare Guru is a great concept, right? Is it Medicare?
Medicare Con. Everybody Medicare keeps calling it Medicon, so I may just change the damn name to Medicon.
Well, it's a concept, but here's the deal, man. Here's the deal. So I said, give me a few days to figure this out. And I'm like, man, $20,000, man. How do I do this? And I came up with a concept called 10,000 feet and climbing. This was when people just started to video. And I said, I'm bringing a videographer. You get to spend an hour with me in the back of the jet talking about your business. You get to travel with me to Miami and Jackson, Mississippi for the day. We're going to pick you up in a limousine. You're going to fly on a private jet. You're going to go this whirlwind day. We're going to go to two different places. It's going to be crazy. And it's $5,000 to go with me. And sure enough, man, I sold 5 spots at 5K. I made $5 grand, paid for the jet, got in front of 5,000 people. And in those days, I didn't even think about all the follow-up I do. I would just go and speak and leave. And but that taught me, man, that people would pay for experience. If you make it a cool experience, people will pay top dollar to go on that experience.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So really profited from it and was able to get in front of multiple people and then have those unique experiences. So it's hard to really even say how much value came out of doing that. Plus it changed your thinking. And 100%. I find that too, like you were saying, when we first got on this call, you said, you know, you said it's your birthday, you're 45, and you're really just starting to figure some things out and have breakthroughs. And a lot of people look to you and think, you know, well, you're already super, you know, very successful. And even at my level in our industry, people think, well, you're already, you know, towards the top of this industry. But I, all the time, like almost daily, have things that I'm thinking, why have I not thought of this? Why have I not thought of this? Yeah. And then I think the biggest difference in the people, I think everybody's having these thoughts, but some people capitalize on those thoughts and go in and say, okay, I'm going to do that. And there's a lot of risk involved. Like you renting that jet, You didn't know you were going to be able to sell those seats. So, and worst case scenario, you were going to be out 20 grand. A lot of people would think that's a big risk, but you took a gamble. And hell, even if you'd have sold 2 seats on it, then you'd have been out 10 grand. You'd have got in front of both audiences. You'd have had good experiences.
Yeah. And what's the value of that? We're having our first conference in September.
Mm-hmm.
And I was telling my wife, actually last night when I got home, I mean, this is really like an investment. Okay. We invest in the stock market. Some people do, some people invest in real estate. Some people invest in different things. Putting on a conference is like making an investment,
mm-hmm.
right? You're putting money into something with the hopes and beliefs that it'll show a return. And the return is not necessarily on ticket sales. Maybe it is for some people, but it's really on long-term relationship. And I told my wife, I said, I think we can generate 500 grand at least. And I kept telling Cody Askins, because I worked with him a lot and coached him some. And I said, man, you ought to be pulling $1 million out of your conference. There's too many people. There's too much energy. If you got to find a way to get $1 million out of this thing, man. And so I told my team, I think we should easily generate $500,000. So it's an investment. If I put 100 in, I get 500 back in a 6-month cycle. That's a pretty dang good investment, right?
Yeah.
But it's the risk of putting 100 in or 200 in up front to do the conference, not knowing that you can make.
Many people don't have the fortitude to do it. And
right.
I mean, Cody told me that when we launched the first, Medicare Con, which we called Medicare Gurus Mastermind at the time, supposed to be smaller, ended up realizing the appetite was really large for it, and we made it bigger. But when we did it, he said, well, congratulations, on having the balls to do it, and that was a big compliment because I think Cody definitely has a lot of balls, I mean, he's always, taking it to the next level, and he really takes that scale with speed to heart. And I know you've been a big part of that in helping him kind of formulate that plot and drive that and maybe even get some of the limited belief out of the way, because sometimes you just you gamble. Nobody has anything massive worth replicating hasn't taken some big gambles in the process.
Yeah, and you're betting on you. And I'm a big believer. I go back to my core beliefs. I believe when people come together, okay, that if you offer real value, there's nothing but something good that can happen from that, right? I've never gone wrong, whether it be get people to my lodge, get people to my live events, speaking at conferences. I just think that the energy of bringing people together is better than any marketing dollars you could spend.
Yeah.
Right. That's why I say you get me on a stage, let me do my thing, and you put a bunch of people in a room, we're going to create something. We're going to create some enthusiasm. Now, how much would I have to spend in marketing dollars to create that same enthusiasm? So this is why you see me buy the real estate properties I buy. I just got a new place at the 505 in Nashville on the 40th floor. It's got panoramic views. It's breathtaking. And I got that because I want to entertain people there. I know the value of bringing people down, taking them up to the 40th floor, overlooking Nashville, having a drink, talking business. I mean, I told my wife we should generate $1 million at that condo, right? I look at the lodge. Why did I buy the lodge? Bring people together. I've used it for country music concerts. I've used it I don't even use it enough. I'll be using it more. But here's the deal, bring people together, let them get excited, have something for them to do, take action on. And man, that's just a big part of my business model.
Yeah, man. Well, Coach, you're coming to Medicare Con.
Yep.
I'm seriously considering just trying to make sure the trademark isn't taken on Medicon, because Tyler Reese calls it Medicon all the time. So I think a couple other people have, and that would sound pretty cool. But you're coming to Medicare Con. That's what we're gonna call it for now. And you when we started talking, you guys really wanted to get involved in Medicare Con, and I wanted you to, and so we talked back and forth and got it happening. That's in April. What are you looking forward to sharing at Medicare Con?
What I'd like to do, especially when I'm speaking in spaces where some of the people have heard me before, is, and I think I mentioned this to you, when you write 17 books, you got a lot to say. And people have certain topics they want me to speak on. And obviously, Pray Drive is a big one because the book's coming out. The book will actually be out in February of 2022. So just a few months before your conference, this kind of my life's work book is coming out. But there's so much to Pray Drive that I don't talk about. I don't talk about the dark side of Pray Drive. You know, how do you use fear and anxiety and disappointment and rejection, and like how do you flip the switch by using these? I use all of those, by the way. I have learned to convert negative energy into positive energy pretty quickly and use it as rocket fuel. And so, you know, one thought I'm thinking about with you is really talking about the dark side of Pray Drive. How do you leverage that? How do you use these emotions that typically cripple people and typically debilitate people from doing what they're capable of doing? Because all the greats, to be honest with you, we're looking for something to activate our Pray Drive. We're looking for a challenge. We're looking for a fear. We're looking for, like, I watch how big time people reactivate their Pray Drive. They almost always get involved in something that scares them, right? They're constantly changing environments. Where most people cower or crouch in fear, they push through it. So there's a psychology to this, like that big time people are looking for a fight. They're looking for a challenge. They're looking for a slight. They're looking for a rejection. I still remember when I spoke once, when I first got started, there was an agent there that lived in my home city, and she came to see me, and, you know, somebody asked her how I did. And she said, man, you know, he's a good high school basketball coach. That was her comment. That's what she said about me. And man, every time I see her picture on Facebook, every time I think about her, it almost motivates me to make $1 million more because it pisses me off, man. I'm like, is that all you had to say, that I was a good high school basketball coach? Like, that's your critique of me? Like, it's like but I use that anytime I'm looking to get motivated. Well, most people would use that as a rejection.
Yeah.
Like, man, she said something negative about me. Well, big time people is like, thank you for saying that. Boom.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. So I think there's a dark side to Pray Drive, an edge, an energy, a conversion point that a lot of people know how to use. Grover talks about this some in Relentless and Winning, that Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade, they all had a real edge about them. Yeah. They knew how to convert negativity very, very quickly. So yeah, I think that's a great topic for us to talk about.
Absolutely. I love it. And it's so true, you know, and I mean, I know exactly what you're talking about, because if somebody's experienced it before, if you've gotten, it's not even just somebody rejecting buying something from you. It's more of like a rejection of your relevance, you know, where they're kind of, you know, dismissing, you know, and I put something on Facebook the other day that people that do that to people like me or you don't realize what they're doing. And if they're trying to compete with me with that strategy, that's not good. I told Cody the same thing. I was like, Cody, if I wanted to shut you down and compete with you, my strategy would be to completely ignore you. I wouldn't say anything bad about you. I wouldn't try because I know that by trying to directly, you know, put him down in that way would just make him stronger. You know, it's like that juggernaut type of, you know, momentum. And and there's a part of that too, that you have to figure out how to do it gracefully, because you can be, sometimes we can get a little bombastic, you know, with that thought process. So I'm going to keep that thought process in, maybe tell my wife, maybe tell Coach Burt how I feel, maybe not tell the world, and just use that inside me, you know. But no, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's a great topic. And I think a lot of people need to know how to harness that emotion when they have it, or maybe how to cultivate it when they don't have it, because it is useful. And we're often told to suppress that type of emotion rather than utilize it properly.
Yeah, I mean, embarrassment is a great activator of Pray Drive. Like you know, I remember before I won a state championship, we got beat badly in Cleveland, Tennessee, by Cleveland High School once. And man, I'm talking embarrassed. Like I'm talking like 40 or 50 points in its sub-state game before you go to the state tournament. And it was so humiliating to me and my players, but so necessary for us to go back and really understand what it took to be champions. Like we needed to feel that embarrassment. We needed to sit on that bus and cry and watch our whole season go down the drains, and the misery that comes along with to have this ridiculous prey drive in the off season to come back and win the next year. We didn't know what it was like to win. We didn't know what it looked like to play at that level. We didn't know until they showed us. And once they showed us, man, we were on a mission. We were literally on a mission, and it all started with embarrassment. So being personally embarrassed by your performance, I coach a lot of salespeople and insurance and real estate and mortgage and financial services and all kinds of industries. And I watch and observe how people handle themselves after they take a blow. Can they show up every day and make the calls? Do they follow up like they're supposed to? Do they get emotional? Do they get distracted easily? Right? And there's trends that I see. And a good coach helps you to break cycles, these negative cycles in your life. Yeah. And I think that's what I'm going to do there, because we'll be coaching people. I bring a very special skill set. Everybody you have coming brings their own special skill set. My skill set is just the inner engineering of a person where they walk out of there and go, I need to be playing at a bigger level, man.
Yeah.
I was speaking at Roger Short's thing in Dominican, and a guy came and he was just mad that he had to come hear me speak. Like he was like, who is this little dude? And what the hell is he going to teach me? And he was mad because he's like, man, I came to Dominican. I don't want to go listen to some coach. And then he came up to me afterward and he told me this. He said, man, I was mad that I even had to hear you. He said, now I'm mad because I thought I was doing good. I thought I was somebody. And now I heard you and I'm not even doing anything in comparison to what I'm supposed to be doing. Like I'm so much better. He's like, you activated something inside of me, man. Now I'm pissed off to go do something about it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it worked.
There's different layers of perspective, and it's difficult. You think you're doing well until you see something else. I remember I was on a trip with a company. It was the second carrier incentive trip I won when I was earlier in my insurance career. And I like those carrier incentive trips because you got around other people that were performing, or they wouldn't be there. They were performing at some level. But we were in the harbor of I think it was Bora Bora or Moorea, in like where the ship would kind of harbor in, and we pull up next to this oil billionaire yacht, and I'm sitting there like this, like I'm sitting there thinking, oh man, how could it get any better? I want a trip. I'm in Bora Bora. We're going to go jet ski around Moorea tomorrow. And this guy is sitting over here with, on this, $130 million yacht. He's probably thinking, how could it get any better? Like, and he's thinking the same thing, but we're in like completely different levels, And so I just those moments. And when you talked about the girl that said he's a good basketball coach, I've had people locally that don't understand because they think they have me in a box, like, oh, Justin Brock locally, and in the industry I'm viewed as like, oh, he's one of the more prolific insurance people, but locally they're like, why does he have a bigger house than me? Why does he have a nicer car? And why are they putting signs up and Sprinter vans? What are they doing? He's just an insurance agent. A lot of times these are doctors and other business owners and stuff. And I'm like, you guys, people will put you in that box. But I at first it would annoy me, and now I kind of like it. I like making them wonder what, and I'm sure you got these people that know you as a basketball coach. But what the hell is he doing building a $6 million greatness factory? Who does he think he is? That's got to make you laugh now. Like just,
we actually, it does make me laugh. I had an office in my hometown for a long time, and man, it was a dogfight. And I used to tell people I get treated the worst in my own home city. I go out where I live, in Middle Tennessee, and man, people would just look at me funny and be rude to me. And, I had a Sprinter van, and now I've got a jet, and not everybody's happy for you when you do that. Who is he? Who does he think he is? Who does he think? Right. And so we spend a lot of time in Nashville now, which is bigger. People don't a lot of people don't, know me there. But it's so funny because I signed a big deal with Paul Micheal, which is kind of funny too, because I don't have any hair, but they run these beauty salons. But every morning I work out at a place called Rock Box, which is boxing and functional fitness. And I've been signed to do events for Paul Micheal all over the world, in LA at the big celebrity event, in Atlanta, in Chicago. And I drive past one in my home city every morning when I leave the gym, and they've never called me to do anything for them. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm going to LA to speak for you. I'm going to Chicago to speak for you. I'm going to Atlanta to speak for you. And I drive by one in my home city, and they've never even asked me to speak for them. Now, why is that? It's just, it's just the way it is, man. People become familiar with you. They make assessments of you. They make prejudgments of you.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's why my grandmother didn't call me to help her with her Medicare. Who does he think he is? He don't know anything about Medicare. I'm not the Medicare guru. Well, buddy, I appreciate it. I hope you have a great birthday.
Yeah, thank you.
We really appreciate you coming on here. We're excited to get you to Medicare Con. It's going to be a blast. And I know that you're going to activate a lot of prey drive there. You activate mine every time I talk to you. So I appreciate it. And, if anybody's looking to get in touch with you, Coach, how would they go about doing that?
Just go to my website, coachburt.com, and you can look at the boot camps I do. You can look at the events of where I'm going to be. I do a lot of public events. I'm doing, one this week on person of interest. And what I do is I break down my big concepts in a 1 to 2 day settings. I love coaching in that environment. I coach a lot of teams. So there's a lot of people in your space, insurance space, that have hired me to come in and activate their salespeople's prey drive. Teach them the selling system, the follow-up mechanisms. So I'm very tactical like that. But I do want to say, man, we believe in you. Our team believes in you. We see a lot of talent, potential in you, and we're very honored to be part of your conference. I know you're bringing in some big time people who are all industry experts and some great speakers. So if you haven't got your ticket yet to Medicare Con, right?
MedicareCon.com.
Then you need to get your ticket, because I'm gonna be there. My new book will be out, and it'll be exciting, man. So
not like Medicare Con artists, like Medicare Con friends. I've gotten that. Maybe Medicon would do away with that. I don't know. Man, well, thank you so much. We'll see you in Birmingham. I'm sure I'll see you somewhere in between there, and we'll be in touch. Thank you.
All right, brother. God bless you. Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks, Coach. Bye-bye.
Have a great day.
Did you subscribe to the YouTube channel? Did you like the video? Please turn your notifications on and head over here to our next video. And if you haven't joined our Facebook group, check out Medicare Gurus. It's over 7,000 members strong currently, and there's tons and tons of wealth of information and knowledge from experienced agents as well as new agents that you can find and help shepherd. So thank you guys so much for watching. Check this video out right here.